let's get one thing clear right off the bat. You mud and rock types, move along. Nothing here for you to see. You see, CNET does tech reviews and everyday reviews. We're not going to go off-road and check the trail rating on this guy. That's just not what we do. Well, maybe a little. I'm talking to the 80% of you who buy these things because you want them to be mall rated. This isn't just a cute little Suzuki with a chunky square body. This is a Jeep. It's the real deal. And along the way, you make some sacrifices. The first of which is, it's the only American car in production that still looks like an 88. Now let's go inside. Now, the odd battle between trail-rated and prissy continues inside this vehicle. You've got a big old Sirius transfer case lever down here, big old handy gear shift. That's normally a 6-speed manual, by the way. We have the 5-speed automatic in this car. And you got some simple big round gauges in front of you and lots of big man-sized things to hang on to. But then the prissy kicks in. Little BS like the little since 1941 embossed in 1941 typeface. I don't need that. And what are these Tonka truck air vents here? And all this chrome, and there's chrome everywhere. And we've got controls on the wheel, and voice command, and power locks, and power windows, and power mirrors, and you can get automatic temperature control. And there's a big mishmash of trail meets shopping mall. Here's your base head unit. It's okay. It's kind of what I would get in this car. I would not bump up the either $1,000 to $1,800 more for a 6.5-inch touchscreen unit, which has Garmin navigation we've seen before. It's childishly simple but highly rated. And depending which of those two systems you pick up, you'll end up getting Bluetooth and streaming audio and some voice recognition or not. Skip the LCD. It doesn't belong in any vehicle that you can reduce to nothing more than a chassis with a roll bar around your head. Now, outside the Rubicon, there's more evidence of the weird split personality of a modern Jeep. First of all, notice the hinge here at the base of the windshield. Yes, the windshield, as in days of yore, will fold flat for when you're driving around the Serengeti and want a mouthful of bugs. The problem is, because of modern safety specs, this thing has to be bolted down, so you've got to remove, by my count, 18 bolts before this thing can fold down on these nice little bumpers and clip. On the other hand, the hood folds all the way back to give you great engine access when you crap out in the boonies. The problem is, nothing prevents this from getting a huge dent from the windshield header. Now that's a piece of technology this thing could use. And notice when you go to lift that hood, it's secured only by 2 external rubber clamp downs, and then a quick latch underneath. No interior lock. So when you need to steal a battery for your car, this is the one you want to look for in a parking lot. Now, luckily, a Wrangler still has all kinds of open top options. You've got this sort of T-top deal minus the T. It's 2 plastic panels that unhitch from inside and come clear. Nice overhead space. And of course, the rear part, this whole cap comes off as well, but it requires a few bolts be removed. You can also pull the doors easily on one of these guys. In fact, you can still get them with half doors and plastic windows. But unfortunately, to have easy to remove doors, you lose door checks. You have door stops, these canvas things, but the door doesn't lock anywhere. So your shins are going to look like hell as long as you drive one of these. Now, big improvement in the Wrangler for 2012. It goes from the dog motor it had for the last handful of years to Chrysler's well-respected Pentastar V6. This is a 3.6-liter V6, variable valve timing. It's a modern engine. It's going to crank out 268 horse and 260 foot-pounds of torque. Gets this guy up to 60 in 6.7 seconds, quite respectable, while delivering 1721 mpg. Base gearbox is 6-speed manual, as you should order, or you can wuss out and get the 5-speed automatic like we showed you. A lot of things in this engine bay are laid out differently than a normal car to make it ready for anything. You've got this reverse-mounted alternator, so splashes hit the waterproof back, not the pulley nose front. You got a big high air box up here, of course, to let you ford streams without getting drunk on water. Speaking of getting drunk, I like this. You got an easy pull-out overflow coolant bottle. I guess you can fill up in streams on a bad day. I would turn that into a sneaky bourbon snatch. Okay, now underway, our little friend rides on 17 alloys and 32-inch tires. So you've got a jounce in this vehicle you're probably not used to in the Honda Civic you traded in to buy it. There's also a knobby thing that goes on at low speeds you got to get used to, because this kind of a tread on a tire makes a sound and feeling at low speeds. Over on this side, you've got your electronic axle lock for front or rear or both. There's also a button here called sway bar. That will electrically disconnect the sway bar. When you're really out in the chunky stuff, climbing rocks or what have you, you can disconnect the sway bar so you get greater articulation on the front wheels. They can have an extreme degree of difference in height of what they're gripping while not tilting the body with them. I'll tell you, the thing is surprisingly bolted together. You don't hear as many rattles and such as you'd expect from something with all these panels and all these kind of sheet metal apparatus and that spare hanging off the back. But enough of this freeway driving. Let's go do what 80% of you will not do 80% of the time, and get in the mud.